Alright, so this video is feedback or just my response to Toda Ryan's video about getting jumped by the meth addicts. I saw his video and just wanted to share my thoughts on what could be learned from his experiences, and basically just envisioning myself and having something like that similar happen to me. And it very much easily could happen to anybody. I think this is a good learning experience for everybody. But one thing that I see, it could be taken more seriously as a critical learning experience to kind of enhance your chances of survival and living a long life, by just making smarter decisions. But he mentioned somebody came into his way and somebody else just put his hand at his throat, and then he moved away and then got away from the person and it continued to keep walking. Well, what could have happened is the guy that put his hand to his throat, it could have been a knife. So he could have just slashed his throat right there, even though he didn't grab him hard. Imagine if the guy just put a knife to his throat right there, he could have died right there. Easily somebody could just point the gun at him right there and stick him up, right, and threaten to shoot him, if he didn't give them his money. He already acknowledged that it was like he could have walked around them. He already realized that it was a mistake to kind of cut through the group, and he could have walked around them. But basically, that's the type of people that I deal with on a day-to-day basis where my school is located. Where my school is located, there's a lot of people on drugs. I live in a poor community. There's a lot of gang violence. There's violence in general. There's shootings that happen just around the corner of where the school is. Actual killings, people getting shot on the sidewalk in broad daylight, people getting beaten and killed, on the sidewalk in broad daylight. The block of where the coon is, or where the school is, it's a very rough block, and people hang out on the streets all the time. People hang out on the sidewalks all the time, especially when the weather gets better, gets warm. People are out there all the time, and you're walking by and it could start a fight. They're in groups too. They always hang out in groups, 3, 4, 5, 10 of them sometimes or more. And it's always smart to walk on the other side of the street, when they're like blocking the path, but sometimes you have no other option but to kind of, you might walk down the sidewalk and you see that they're like covering up the sidewalk. If I can, a lot of times I'll just walk over on the street and just go around them. I don't even bother to try to cut through. But sometimes we do have to cut through because we got strollers, or we used to have strollers. We push the kids and we have to to tell them to get out of the way. But even though I was at the other day I was at the grocery store, and this guy was in the way, and I told him, excuse me, and he kind of got upset and said, well, I gotta wait until this person moves first, and hold on. So like there's attitudes, what I'm saying, and I just ignored the attitude, just kept going on about my way. But a lot of times if you tell somebody to get out of the way, or you say excuse me, they'll take offense, they get pissed off, and then they'll come at you with an attitude. And then what I learned to do is just kind of brush it off, like whatever, what I'm saying. Like I don't escalate it. I usually do not escalate it and like provoke anything. I just stay silent, whatever, Other times, I went to Subway, and there's even women have over where the school is. They're aggressive. This woman was like bitching at the clerk at Subway. I just looked at her for just a few seconds. Just looked at her, and she's like, what the fuck you looking at? All this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I still stayed quiet, whatever, didn't escalate it. But things get escalated quick, can get escalated quick, and these people that I live around where the school is, there's a good chance they got weapons, especially guns and things like that. So, like, a small little thing could turn into something big, and then a death could occur very easily, very quickly. So, basically what Todai Ryan experienced for that one time is kind of like the daily life of where my school is located. That's kind of how it is all the time, on a day-to-day basis. People hanging around out there, taking up the sidewalk in groups. A lot of them take drugs. There's people that get arrested all the time for selling crack and weed and all that other stuff. They're getting arrested. There's undercover cops that arrest these people. There's squad cars out there by where the school is all the time. People getting searched all the time. People getting arrested all the time. Things getting stolen. As soon as me and Jenny opened the restaurant, I had a about almost $1,000 bike right inside the restaurant. Somebody came to the restaurant and stole her bike. You know, they took her bike on like the day before the grand opening or something like that. You know, that was what we got. You know, somebody stealing our bike, stealing her bike. You know, and people always asking for money, always, constantly always asking for money. You know, everywhere you go, they're asking for money, they're asking for money. And, you know, a lot of gangs. So, that's where the school is. So, I gotta deal with this all the time. And I'm always usually on my bike. So, you know, I just get on the bike and I just ride off. So, it's harder for them to engage me sometimes. But, you know, sometimes you just look at the person and then they'll see it as disrespect and they'll start to challenge you. That happened to me one time too. You know, I was just riding my bike and then I looked at the dude and the dude looked at me and then he just challenged me right there. He just rose his hand up, and said, you know, what's up, you know, whatever. You know, so he wanted to fight right there. But I just kept going, whatever. But I mean, this is stuff that's common, but this is part of the reality-based training that's not just physical, but a lot of it is psychological, it's emotional, it's spiritual. It's like learning to let things go, learning to not escalate a situation that doesn't have to be escalated, but at the same time not letting these people bully you either. You know, sometimes, you know, even little kids, I mean, little kids would like say things about my race or call me Jackie Chan or whatever the case, and sometimes I had to say something and kind of put them in check or whatever. Sometimes I just rub it off. There's a woman that lives right above the school that calls me Jackie Chan all the time. At first I was extremely annoyed with it, but then I just eventually just be like, whatever, just ignore her the whole time. I pretty much just, because she's pretty much like mentally handicapped, like almost like mentally ill. And I'm just like, you know, it's kind of like somebody that has autism or something, or somebody they're just not regular, they're not normal. So you just kind of just accept that hating these people, they just don't get it. So it's just kind of pointless to even get upset about it. A lot of these people are like that. Their minds are just not fully developed. So they say stupid things and they get upset over little things. You know, and also got to realize that these people have like really nothing to lose. Their lives are pretty much already miserable. You know, like they don't mind going to jail. Actually, going to jail might be better for them than staying on the streets, because in the streets it's cold and they have a hard time finding food to eat, and they may not have shelter because they're homeless. So they don't mind going to jail, because when they go to jail they got food, they got shelter, they got somewhere to sleep, and probably their friends are all there too. So they really don't mind going to jail. So if they gotta, you know, if a fight happens and they end up killing you, you know, they don't mind going to jail. But if you kill them, you know, then you got a lot of problems to deal with. You know, so a lot of times fighting these people is not worth it. You know, and you just got to do smart things. That's why where my school is, my door is always locked. You know, even when I'm training, the door's locked. People gotta ring a doorbell to get in. And even when they ring the doorbell, I don't let them inside. You know, unless it's a customer and there's an appointment and then I'm ready for the customer, I can answer their questions. But strangers that walk by, they gotta ring the doorbell and then they get a business card, but they don't even come inside. And the whole school is filled up with weapons. So if anybody comes into the school forcefully, they're gonna be engaging in war with me, you know, because I have weapons all over, you know, there to protect the school and everything. There's also security cameras that the school has, so that it's gonna videotape everything that's going on. So it's, you know, I'm prepared for whatever might happen. Even when I ride up to my school location, I try to make sure that I got my keys ready right away. So right when I go, you know, right when I stop, you know, get off my bike, I go right inside the door and then I lock the door, so nobody could come in right after me, you know. And then when I leave, I'm ready to lock the door immediately and then I just take off. But it's like just being smart, you know, with everyday life decisions that you make, and just not escalating a situation more than it has to be escalated, you know. And when you have an option of, like, you see a group of people, no matter if it's daylight or nighttime, doesn't matter. If you see a group of people taking up the sidewalk, I just walk around them, you know, or I just walk on the other side. I don't care to take that extra little walk. It's not a big deal to me, you know. And I don't care how good you are at martial arts, or even if you're armed with a weapon. The fact of the matter is, if they draw out the weapon quicker than you, there's nothing you could do about it, because you got your weapon on your side, but you're walking down there and they got their weapon, but then they pull the weapon out and they point it towards your face. You're not, even though you got a gun, it don't mean that you can't do it. You still can't do anything. They can still shoot you first. So it doesn't matter. It just boils down to, hey, you know what? Just safer ways of, like, you know, safer decisions that you gotta make. You know, you could have a gun, but if you make stupid decisions, then the gun's not gonna help you survive because you just made some stupid mistakes. You know, so, like, you also gotta realize that these people, they have nothing to lose. These people that live in these poor communities and they live in a rough life, they don't mind going to jail. You know, but for somebody that's living it well, you got a family, you got love, you know, you got a good life, you got a lot to lose if you go to jail. A lot to lose, and it's not worth it. So it's just like, when you train in martial arts, all you could do is just train to be the most prepared that you can be for violent situations, and then you just gotta do what you can to not, you know, encourage violent behavior upon yourself. Make smart decisions, you know. And you know, be prepared. You know, I mean, like I said, you know, I live in Chicago, and the school's located in the area is not, it's not a good area. Not at all. People are afraid to go to the area of where my school is. So it doesn't matter how professional that I am, in person or on the internet. You know, the fact of the matter is, my school's located in a very rough neighborhood, and people are scared to go to that neighborhood to train. I could be the most perfect teacher in the world, but as soon as they step into that neighborhood to see the neighborhood, oh, you know, they're frightened. They don't want to come anymore. Well, there's nothing I can really do about that. The people are afraid, they're afraid. You know, but, you know, I had several clients that would witness a woman, like, literally taking a shit in the middle of the street. You know, and they'd tell me what they'd see. You know, they would literally see a woman taking a shit on the streets. And there'd be people taking shits and pissing all over the alley right next to where my school is. I mean, I can't control the outside activity. You know what I'm saying? But these are the struggles that I have to go through in order to, you know, build my business. And I'm meant to be in this area to hopefully bring some positivity into the area. And this keeps the martial arts training more real and more like in perspective of like, you know, if you want to train in martial arts, if you want to train in self-defense and you're already scared of this environment to begin with, then it already shows your weakness. And if you don't even have the strength to kind of, and the courage to even visit this environment to receive the training, then maybe it's just not for you, you know. But a lot of the training that we do is to prepare for dangerous encounters, and the school is located in an environment that is many would perceive as pretty dangerous. But the more that you get used to it, the less that'll be a big deal, and you don't really have the fear. Like, somebody could have got shot and killed just the other day, right down the block, and you still see the blood stains on the sidewalk. But you like, hey, it's not a big deal anymore. Just like, hey, death is a part of life, and hey, I'm still gonna keep working, doing what I gotta do, and being more attentive and aware. That's what keeps us on our toes. Basically, when you see people dying, or you see, you know, bad things happening to other people, then you gotta know, hey, I need to make smarter decisions in my own life, so these things don't happen to me. Like somebody gets killed at 2 in the morning. Well, what the hell is the person doing at 2 in the morning any damn way? Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Make smart decisions. It doesn't matter like if you're armed or whatever. You can still die at any moment. So just make smart decisions. Just in everyday life. Like knowing in New Year's, for example, there's gonna be a bunch of people drinking alcohol. So maybe it's not a good time to go out, because you might get in a car crash, because there's gonna be a lot of people out there driving under the influence. So when you know that there's a day where there's going to be a lot of people out there, a lot of people drinking alcohol, then maybe you should just make a decision to just stay home. It's a safer decision. So I think lots could be learned from Ryan's encounter, and then just preparing yourself, learning from other people's experiences, and just taking little things and envisioning something that could have happened, that could have been worse, in order to take the experience a little bit more seriously, so then you can make smarter decisions for the future. Just like I said, the guy grabbed his throat, but the guy could have slit his throat easily right there with a knife, easily. So the fact of him just even allowing the person to even touch his throat is already like basically showing how his life could have ended right there. And it happened that quickly. You understand? So that's it. That's what that was going through my mind when I got it, read his, when I saw his video. And I'll learn from it too. But I already do the stuff that I'm supposed to do, just when I walk, just walk around these people, don't even really look at them, because when you look at them, they think that you want to challenge them and fight them. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff like that. So living in Chicago, it kind of makes you, a little bit more attentive, a little more cautious, and making sure that you don't get your stuff stolen, making sure that people don't jump you from behind, making sure that people are not trying to deceive you. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. So, but this is all a part of the combat training, survival training, martial arts training, and this is one of the main differences between, what we focus on here at this training, opposed to combat sport.